Thank you so much, Mia. Thank you, everyone, for joining us a few days early before Women's Day. So we are, as women, celebrating Women's Day. And what is Women's Day about? It's about acknowledging women who've gone before us to make it easier for us. It's about acknowledging confident women. And it's about acknowledging the contribution that you make as a woman, you know, in the workplace, in our society, in our communities, in our families, in our homes, to our friends. You know, we play a very, very important role, and you play a very, very important role. Each woman has a role to play. Each other person also has a role to play, but today we're just specifically addressing women. So thank you so much for joining us. So I wanted to start by asking the question, what is confidence? And so when I looked it up, it says confidence is a feeling of belief that something is reliable. And, you know, like if you're walking on a high bridge over a raging river, that feeling that you get, is this bridge going to hold? That is confidence. And I think as women, we sometimes have that feeling of we doubt our own abilities. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I use the analogy of playing golf. You know, when I play golf, which I don't do a lot of, but I'm often sitting trying to hit the ball, and instead of trying to just focus on hitting the ball, I'm focusing on what I think everybody is thinking about me instead of just focusing on hitting the ball. I have a feeling that men, you know, I'm not one, so I can't speak for one, but I have a feeling that men are maybe a little bit easier and more able to focus on the ball and hitting the ball. I don't know. But I know for myself that and I can only speak of my own experience, I sometimes question what other people are thinking about me. So as that bridge, I'm sitting thinking, do they believe in me? Do they think I can hold them up? And I think that undermining belief sometimes undermines our self-confidence and makes us as women sometimes act too confident and come across maybe too brash, or maybe completely withdraw and, you know, just totally like pull out so that we're not even in the conversation and we don't want people to notice us. So there's maybe two different responses, and maybe there's it's like a continuum. So maybe we've got some people who are like, I'm going to over display confidence. I've worked with some women who were, and I've been that woman who's been a complete lunatic in the workplace. I mean, my staff still think I'm a lunatic, but I have changed, and I'm a heck of a lot better than I was in my 20s. You should have worked with me in my 20s. I was insane. Like, I didn't care about you at all. I just wanted you to do work, and you were just a machine, and you just needed to perform. And the reason I was like this is because I was terrified. I was utterly terrified. And I didn't want anyone to see through me, as I completely faked my way through my managerial roles in my 20s. I didn't know what I was doing, and I worked extremely hard to prove that I could do the job. And I pushed my team extremely hard to not let me down, because it was all about, you know, how it reflected on me. So I think at the underlying, on the opposite for me of confidence, is probably fear. And I think as human beings, fear and anxiety is a very big theme in our lives, especially with the amount of work and pressure that we as human beings are facing in today's age. So I think it's normal to have that fear and that awareness of fear, but you have to decide which walk are you going to take? Are you going to take the walk that says, okay, I'm going to woman up and I'm going to do this thing? Or are you going to be like withdrawing? And neither is right, neither is wrong. You could be confident and say, my confidence, I'm going to keep silent, and I'm actually not going to say anything, because sometimes confidence is keeping quiet. And so confidence is a difficult subject to really, really unpack as to what it is. When I was younger, one of the managers that I worked with asked me, this was in my early 30s, he asked me, why do you always take these promotions that are offered to you? He basically implied you should decline them because you don't really know, you're in over your head. But my view has always been, why should I decline a promotion? I can learn it on the job. I can learn the skills on the job. And I don't know if that's confidence in my own abilities that I can learn something, because I didn't self-sabotage myself and not take the promotion because I didn't have the skills. I knew I would grow into them, and I did grow into them. And a good manager would have helped me develop into my skills and into that managerial position, and helped me to identify, where I was lacking and to augment that. But I haven't been someone who's ever turned down opportunities. because I have thought to myself, I'm going to fake it until I make it. And I think there is a little bit of that that's needed. You need to say, I can do this. I know I can do this. I can hard work myself. I can study in the evenings. I can learn the role. My mom often tells me she worked with a woman who decided one day that she didn't want to be a nurse anymore. She was going to be a secretary back in the days when there were secretaries, and she faked her CV. This is like a long time ago. I'm not saying faking your CV is a good idea. She faked a CV, got a job as an executive PA, didn't know how to type, didn't know how the fax machine worked, didn't know how the printer worked. You can tell fax machine from here. And when the boss came in, she just would type rapidly, absolute gibberish. But she faked her way into it, and within a couple of days, weeks, she knew what she was doing, and she was rocking that job. So on the one hand, I want to say fake it till you make it. If you don't know something, keep your mouth shut. Write down the thing you don't know, go and study it, or say to the client, I'll come back to you. I'm not sure what the answer is. Let me just come back to you, or let me give them some thought. It's a good way to say, I don't know. Don't say I don't know. Say, I'm just going to give it some thought and let me come back to you with some ideas. And then you go and research, go and figure it out. So what is confidence? It's believing in yourself. And it does grow with time. Confidence grows with time. It also grows with experience. You get all these Nike athletes with just do it. And just do it is a big confidence statement. It means I believe that I can just do it. So all these Nike athletes now at the Olympics just do it. And I mean, they have put in the hours. And so they can just do it because they put in the hours. And so, put in your hours, learn your craft, and eventually you will be able to speak up with confidence based on experience. But until you have the experience, you can at least have the confidence to take on the challenge. And whatever that challenge may be, don't step back from it, because you can learn it. You're smart, you're hardworking, you can figure it out. So that to me is confidence. It's not knowing everything, but it's not stepping back. So if I look at some of the women who didn't step back, like if I look in history, some of the women who didn't step back and say, oh no, I'm just a woman. And it reminds me when I was as an older teenager, 19 years old, I once said to my dad, he asked me why I had done X, Y, and Z. I said, oh, it's because I'm a woman. And he said, never say those words. Never say those words. Never, being a woman is an advantage. Being a woman is something to be proud of. So I don't tell my girls to man up. I tell them to woman up. I said, woman up, girl. You got this, do it. Because I think, there is too much dialogue in our day-to-day, which is, like a girl and, those kinds of disparaging comments, which I don't believe in. I really don't believe in it. So when I originally had a mentor back in the day, about 5 years ago, I got a mentor, not Craig Rodney. Craig Rodney would never do this. Another mentor whose name shall remain unsaid. I asked him, I said to him, what do I need to do to be successful and to come across confidently to my, prospective clients, and when I'm pitching and trying to get new clients? And he said, well, maybe you should tie your hair up, and maybe you shouldn't wear dresses. So I think you have to decide who you let into your inner circle to speak into your life. That's a big part of confidence. If there are people in your life who are undermining your confidence, you will never get out of that slippery bank and get onto solid ground and move up that confidence mountain. You will always be on crumbly ground that's undermining you. And you need to do an audit in your life, the people who are undermining your self-confidence. And it might be an inner voice. So I have learned with time to acknowledge my inner voices. Thank you, inner voice, for trying to look after me and trying to protect me, and for saying, I don't think you can do it. I acknowledge you. However, I'm going to give it my best shot. So you may actually be the person who's not fighting on your own team, who's not in your corner. You might actually be the person undermining yourself and those inner dialogues. Sometimes when I speak to someone, I see their eyes glaze and I see their inner dialogue starting to run. And we just need to become aware of our inner dialogue. That is the first step. Become aware of it and then start to question it. And I heard a good saying that in your 40s, you start doubting your doubts. And I'm hoping that we can move that forward to people in their 30s and people in their 20s. Just doubt your doubts. You're a strong, confident bridge over raging water, and you can do it. And you can lay the planks as the people are walking. You know, you can learn as you go in life. So, I mean, we've all heard of Marie Curie, first woman to win not only one Nobel Prize, I think she won a Nobel Prize in 2 different scientific fields. And this was back in the 1800s, you know, early 1900s, when it was absolutely unheard of for women to be leaders in her field. And she didn't let anybody stand on her toes. I have so much respect for her. My daughter had to do a project on her, which meant I had to do a project on her. And so I learned a lot about Marie Curie just recently. Obviously, there's Rosa Parks. We all know about her, played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement, refused to give up her bus seat. I think sometimes a woman just gets to a point where it's like, this is enough. There's a righteous indignation that arises within us. And I think sometimes women are the keeper of the benchmark. We are the ones that know this is right. And if a woman starts to excuse what is right and, oh no, it's okay, and make excuses, the benchmark goes down and you start losing yourself when you stop saying, actually, this is not right. I will not stand for this. So sometimes a woman has to take a wine glass and smash it against the wall, because sometimes that is what is needed. So, you know, don't be the, oh no, I wouldn't want to create any glass. I often think of Italian women, you know, who will just smash a wine glass take their plate and smash it on the floor. And I think that's great. Obviously, not in front of the children. I'm just try and save it for, don't traumatize the kids. But I did have a friend in Australia, my flatmate, who told me that she had been in a very constrictive marriage. And when she got out of the marriage, she took her grandmother's bone china set, the Royal Dalton set. She took the entire set and she smashed it against the garden wall, because she said to herself, my voice has value. My voice has value, and I have been silenced. And this is the value of my voice. It is worth this vintage Royal Dalton bone china tea set. It is worth that. And she kept the little milk jug, and she always put that on her desk as a reminder. My voice has value. I will speak up. I will speak up. And especially if I feel that the benchmark is being dropped and unrighteousness is being perpetrated. So I do think that, you know, you need to be ready to get a little bit of pushback, and it's okay. It's okay to get a little bit of pushback. But it is important, I think, to stand up for what is right. Now, I said stand up for what is right. I did not say stand up for your rights. There's a very fine balance, I think, in being what the internet calls a Karen versus somebody who is a Rosa Parks, who will always be remembered for standing up for what is right. So I personally think that if everybody stands up for their rights, everybody has the right to say what they want to say, and everyone has the right to get the McDonald's order right. And we've all seen these internet videos of absolute lunatics going crazy on the interwebs. We don't want to be that person. We're not Karens. We can be quiet. We're not the policemen of society who'll stop children fishing from the pier. You know, we're not the policemen of society. Just, you know, let people be. And sometimes you need to let go of what you deem as my rights, my right, because you don't want to be that person in the Walmart shirt throwing their toys. But there is something about standing up for what is right. And I would just encourage you, I don't have the answer. I don't know. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling that you have to go with on what is in your gut of what is right, and when you should speak up and when you should keep quiet. And that is wisdom. And each woman should pursue wisdom above all, like when to speak up, when to keep quiet, when to pursue an opportunity, when to step away from an opportunity. Sometimes I've been almost strong-armed into joining forces with another business person who wanted to be part of the business. And I started to feel overwhelmed and darkness and confused. And I just lost the light and I lost the path. And I think every woman needs to be very in tune to their inner voice, very in tune, because that is our benchmark balance of what is right and what is wrong. So don't go with what is up here. This is just chaos and noise. But here, this quiet voice, this is really where sanity lies. So make sure you are looking after yourself and taking quiet time. Do your morning walks, do your meditation, do your prayers, whatever it is, bring yourself peace into a place of peace and stay in that zone. That's our challenge, right? So from a South African point of view, we can look at Thuli Madonsela, who really took on a difficult job. Very, very, very high challenging job, fraught with challenges, fraught with difficulties, but she stood for what was right. And she stood for upholding the law, and she is absolutely fearless. She had a profound impact on promoting transparency and accountability in South Africa. So if I can quickly go into what I think the components of self-confidence are and confidence would be, it would start with self-belief. Be in your own corner. Give yourself the chance to learn. Give yourself the opportunities. Believe in your own abilities and potential. Potential means something that hasn't yet been realized. It is a future statement. So you may not be able to do it now, but if you say yes and you try and you work, then you grow into your potential. So be in your own corner. And sometimes, you might say, well, my difficult childhood has hampered me. Look at the terrible childhood I came from. Look at my difficulties. Look what's happened to me. But that's part of your story. It's not about covering that up and hiding from it. Obviously it's a very private thing, and you may decide to which point do you want people to know about it, but that is your story. That's what makes you you. That's what makes you compassionate. If it wasn't for that, you may be a lot harder and less kind if you hadn't gone through the crusher. And sometimes life puts you through the crusher just to give you a little bit of compassion and a little bit of humility. So I think, have that self-belief and give yourself the chance. Resilience. Resilience isn't something that can be taught. It's a choice that you need to make. I just call it don't quit. Like, just don't quit. Just don't quit. Just don't quit. Like I'm writing a book on marriage, and when you open it, it just has one word. It says, don't leave. 2 words, don't leave. That is like marriage, don't leave. That's it. How to have a successful marriage, don't leave. That's the entire book, don't leave. So, obviously, we're not talking about abusive relationships and stuff like that, but you need to be resilient. And that resilience is kind of the ability to bounce back from hardships. So if you've gone through a hard time, it's okay to mourn. It's okay to be under. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to give yourself time to feel the feelings that you may have been suppressing. It's okay. Say to yourself, I'm depressed and it's okay. I hear my inner voice. It's tired. I've been through a lot. It's okay to be struggling. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody's judging you. Well, at least, if they are judging you, they're definitely not in your circle of friendship. So, bounce back, keep trying. If you've been rejected 99 times, or however many times Abraham Lincoln was rejected, or J.K. Rowling was rejected, keep trying. Just keep trying if you believe in yourself. And then courage, number 3. So number 1, self-belief. Number 2, resilience. Number 3, courage. Face your fears. Acknowledge what your fears are and face them. So big props to Annette, our COO, who went up on the stage and gave a couple of talks for the business, faced her fears, and absolutely nailed it. And that's what it's about. She prepared, she practiced, and she nailed it. So that's what my encouragement is for you. Acknowledge your fears and go and face them. Because when I moved to Melbourne by myself, I was terrified. I was terrified about driving in the streets, even though it was on the same side of the road as South Africa. They have trams, and they have this weird right hook where you actually pull into oncoming traffic, wait, and then cut across the trams. And you, like, if a tram's there, you have to stop or you'll ride over the people. I was terrified. And I kept saying to myself, it's only new the first time. It's only new and scary the first time. The second time, like, I didn't know where to park. I didn't know how the parking meters worked. I didn't know any of this stuff. So it's only new the first time. And then it's not new anymore. Then it's known. And then you know what to expect. But if you don't let yourself do the first one, you'll always just sit with that fear. And actually, once it's known, then it's like, okay, I know what's coming. This is what's coming. This is what I can expect. So that to me is courage. Is say to yourself, it's only the first time. Get up, get out there. You've got this. And maybe you're terrified and shivering the whole way through, but the second time is easier, and the third time's easier. The fourth time, you've got it. So that for me is courage. Fourthly, authenticity, staying true to yourself. So staying true to who you are and really feeling your inner self and being able to stand up for who you are on the inside. I think that's really, really important, is to be authentic. I had a talk the other day with someone on AI, Nadia Granata, coming out on my podcast. And we ended the talk after speaking about AI and all the content creation, about how AI lacks authenticity and can undermine trust. So AI, for all its amazing benefits, it will always lack the truth and authenticity and trust building that a real human can bring. And so that's what I want to encourage you and everybody in this room, is to never do anything that undermines trust in you. Because if people stop believing in the bridge, that's a problem. So just be quick on apologizing. Be quick to apologize and say, "Look, I'm sorry. I may have misspoken." Or so I think that's important. Is stay authentic. So let's end off with our how to build confidence goals. So what are we going to do to build confidence? So I hope you'll be taking some notes or getting some ideas. Number one, set some achievable goals for yourself. So start small, set achievable goals. Like, I actually want to do a 5K. I have done a 5K before in my life. I would like to do one again. I'm going to set a small achievable goal, something that I can easily do and celebrate. So set a goal, set a time frame, and give yourself that time to actually do it, get the skills, and celebrate it. So if you want to say to yourself, just do it. I just did it. I've done it. I want to do it. So let's start with, I want to do it. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what is needed. So I've started working out, and I've created a little home gym. I've got my mat there and my weights. And how bad is this? I can't even do like proper push-ups, and then I'm doing wall ups, just like leaning against the wall at an angle, but it's a start. And so I am just doing it because I do want to get strong, get my physique back. Boom. Positive self-talk. Number 2, this is firmly ball in your court. This is your to-do list. What are you going to do to replace those negative self-thoughts? Write them down, acknowledge them, thank them, and then burn them. Like, do something, write it down, say, thank you for this word. Thank you for these thoughts. These are old thoughts. This is the old me. They're no longer relevant. I'm safe. I don't have to be afraid. I'm loved. I'm doing good work. I know what I'm doing. I'm now going to burn this, and don't burn the house down. Positive self-talk, and then learn from your failure. That's the beauty of failure. Failure is your friend. Just like terrible, toxic colleagues and toxic bosses and toxic clients and toxic friends and toxic family, they are your teachers, and you should thank them. My dad always said to me, you will learn the most from your worst bosses. And you certainly can learn, especially what not to do. But I'm asking you to give yourself the chance to fail. And if I was a really good boss, I would let my staff just fail and learn. And if I was a really good parent, I would let my children fail and learn. And instead of just always telling them what to do so that they don't make a mistake, so that it's perfect and they actually never learn, because what did Confucius say? We don't learn when someone tells us something and we hear it. We learn when we do it, and we learn the most when we actually make a mistake. So let's learn from our failure. Number 4, let's surround ourselves with supportive people. Let's get all those toxic people out of our lives. Let's get, identify a mentor, have good friends, have good family members in your life. Definitely, nobody has time or space for anybody who's toxic. And that's really my final word on that. I'm no expert in the department of confidence. I'm no expert in the department of believing in myself, but I do believe that it is a journey, and we are all on that journey. I do believe in the sisterhood of womanhood, that we should support each other and be on each other's side. I don't believe in undermining other women just for the fun of undermining other women just because I'm the only one who should get the spotlight. There's plenty sunshine to go around. And I think we should support each other. And I think that confidence does grow as your experience grows. So stay humble, stay teachable, believe in yourself, don't be a Karen, and you're not the policewoman of the world. Definitely know what your values are. If you don't know what your values are, write them down. What do I believe in? Who am I? Sometimes we lose ourselves by letting other people dominate us. And if you don't know who you are, if you're sitting there and you say, I don't know who I am, I don't know what I stand for, I don't know what I value, I don't know what's important to me. So then that's your challenge. Go away and say, I like this car. Which car do you like? I don't know. Go and find the car you like. What is your favorite color? If you've really lost yourself, as I have in my life as well, in being in a toxic relationship, I lost myself. I lost my voice. I stopped speaking up. I started excusing terrible behavior. And I didn't even know, I was watching my life like a movie. I wasn't even engaged in my life. It wasn't happening to me. It was happening to some other poor woman. And I just was watching her poor life happening to her. And if that's you, it's time to engage with your life again. Start to identify those toxic people in your life and have the confidence to step outside from those influences. And take small steps. Absolutely take small steps. But yeah, I think that's really what it's about. It's about growing. It's about taking the time to believe in yourself. And it is a journey. It is absolutely a journey to build confidence. So I do wish you all the best in your journey. And thank you, Irma. And yeah, I think we should support each other.